Make up your own rules as you go. Stay only true to what you know and who you are. And who you are. The road may be rough, you might not see the top, but winners don't quit and winners don't stop. The lead may look large, you might think that you'll fall, but winners aren't born, winners work hard. They work hard. You can't win if you don't play. The game might be dirty, but it's okay. You can't win if you don't play. You can't win if you don't play. The game might be dirty, but it's okay. You can't win if you don't play. So you better play the game. Know that your own light takes you there. Keep shining so bright and don't compare yourself to them. Yourself to them. You can't win if you don't play. The game might be dirty, but it's okay. You can't win if you don't play. So you better play the game.
Oh,
We are revolutionary. Yeah, you can't stop us now. Yeah. There's nothing I got to prove, nothing I got to lose. I wanna follow you. It is my time to choose. Nothing I got to prove, nothing I got to lose. I wanna follow you. It is my time to choose. It is my time to move. I wanna follow through, cause I got my own mind, winning on my own time. Didn't come when I wanted, but it's always on time. I'ma go and get it, and it's all part of my vision. Then I'ma show everyone I can make it. I'm different. You can't stop what you can't see. No more chains, yeah, I'm truly free. I pay my dues, it ain't come cheap. No more chains on me, you can't hold me down. 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 Yeah, no more, no more, no more. 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 You can't hold me. Look at where I came from. I can never fall back to the same ones. Only good vibes now, but the hard times is what we raised from. Turn to the ambition we are made from. We don't run, we don't fall, we don't stop, we don't fail. We take all our doubts, the dark clouds, and we still prevail. Raise a fist to the sky, a solution's there. And we stand for the dreamers, a revolution's here. You cannot stop us. You cannot stop us. There's nothing you can do now. Just watch. There's nothing you can do now. Just watch. This is revolution.
All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first LRS Premade series tonight. So we have a good series up. We have Crosspoint Origin facing Godmade to show all of Group A what they're made of. So, like our pre-made series, we divided our teams into two pools, and the top three will earn a spot in the playoffs to win the title. Quick reminder, we will have our predictions open as soon as the draft ends and as the game begins. And don't forget to vote for our player of the game after each match. So I'm going to take us to draft so we can get ready and get this thing started. So we're just waiting for a couple more players, but as soon as that is ready, we should be good to start. So, any comments to make before we do start the game up, Mr. Dream?
So this the team Crosspoint. I actually don't know anything about them. I don't think I've seen any of their players before. Now on the other side of Godmade, I'm pretty sure I've seen every single person on their team a few times in the last split, and let's just say that their reputation precedes them, and now they're all on the same team, which is a bit terrifying if you're on the other side of the rift from them.
Definitely, definitely. I did end up playing up against Lunar Effect last split, and he was a monster to be reckoned with in the jungle. I'm pretty excited to see what picks he comes out with this new season, and I wonder how it's going to turn out. But honestly, I think both teams are looking pretty strong, and if they play to their strong suits, I think it will be a pretty fun matchup to watch.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting you see Psychonautic in the top lane. He's been in a different spot every time I've seen him play. One time he was in mid, another time he's been top. There was a time he was playing AD carry. He can do everything, and looks like he's going with top this time around. Excited to see what he actually pulls out.
Flexible player, that's what I like to see. So we're just waiting for a couple more players to join the lobby, and we should be good to go. But what do you think of this new season so far? I know you did play yesterday, and what did you feel affected the meta the most compared to like last season?
Definitely champions that can go invisible upon killing somebody. Is a
Definitely.
little. It's a bit annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when they're about to be especially when they're a certain nocturne that's about to die and they go invisible upon killing my jungler.
Yep. The new Duskblade. A lot of new items for assassins to wreak havoc with. ADC's worst nightmare. Also, any mage's worst nightmare too.
Yeah, definitely. I was feeling the pain from that, especially in game 2.
Well, you guys didn't have a good showing, but let's hope both of these teams have a good showing. So we're just waiting for everyone to ready up, and we should be good to go.
Really excited to see what they pull out this time
Definitely.
around. I wonder how the champion pools have changed over the off season.
Yeah, I mean, certain champions have definitely fallen out of favor, but other champions have gotten good. So I will take us over to draft, and we can get started. Alright, so let's take a look here and see what we have. Both teams are just about to ready up, so we should be able to get this started.
Got the chat calling out for a Zoe pick. I don't know if the people from the teams are listening, but probably best not to listen to them. Usually, when you do, you get counterpicked pretty easily. So
Definitely. Not a good champion to blind pick at all. So here we go. First ban is the Draven. He can be very oppressive if allowed to get ahead. So I do like that ban. And Morgana out too.
Yeah, and the higher elos have definitely been abusing Draven's just straight power that he has, especially in the early to mid stages of the game, where not many other AD carries can actually keep up with him in damage.
Out goes Lunar Effect's Olaf. Oh, that destroyed my team last season. So I'm definitely excited to see it banned here and see what Lunar Effect has. Maybe his Diana will get through, or maybe he'll pick something different. We shall see. But I also like the Morgana ban. That means they're definitely looking for something to hard engage on, or they just don't like the roaming mid-style plays. So let's see what we got here.
Yeah, I do like the Morgana ban. It means like they probably want to go for maybe a more of an engaged type composition, and with the Morgana gone, it makes that job just a little bit easier, especially for the support and maybe the jungler.
Definitely. So the next ban is Diana coming out here. So Lunar Effect banning his own champion. Oh,
Yeah,
that goes to Thresh ban too. So that does allow for less safety in the bot lane unless they are willing to pick up a champion like a Tom Kench or something like that. So they are definitely looking, I think both teams are looking for hard engage.
Yeah, and with the banning of the Thresh, that makes me think that the side of CPO is a little bit afraid of the Aphelios Thresh duo bot lane that's been tearing up the higher elos of play recently.
For sure. Aphelios is definitely really strong. He's been played in both the LPL and LCK recently, and has been doing work in both leagues. I'm pretty excited to see what LCS has to offer and what our teams here in the LRS have to offer as well. And down goes the Graves too. That's a very good, powerful jungle pick right now. He can build both ways, like either crit or lethality, and wreak havoc. And the Pantheon first pick. Now we'll see if it's either jungle or top lane, but that champion is super strong early and doesn't fall off anymore with his new ult passive that's been added since the mini updates.
Yeah, and honestly, this champion could go in 4 different positions. Go top, jungle, mid, and support. Which allows for extreme flexibility, and with the response from Kha'Zix, Lunar Effects Kha'Zix is terrifying. I have nightmares of that champion.
Yeah, I can definitely see Kha'Zix wreaking havoc, but if the Pantheon is in the jungle and able to invade, I think Pantheon is just a stronger champion overall and is able to punish Kha'Zix's farming style. And the Jhin is picked too. What a strong AD carry. It's one of the best right now. Gale Force or Eclipse. It's really strong with both methods of builds.
Yeah, you just gotta be kind of careful with the Jhin, seeing as how he doesn't really have much mobility to speak of until he starts stacking up the crit to get the movement speed. He doesn't really have any ways to get out of a fight once he's in it. And with Pantheon able to just jump into the backline with his ultimate, Jhin has to be feeling a little bit nervous locking that in. With the Leona pick, I definitely hope that Jhin does take cleanse. It's a Leona and a Pantheon. You're not getting away if you don't have any way out. Yeah, definitely. Looking to see what this third pick is going to be. It looks like the side of CPO wants to go all in. They want to make sure that there is no chance for this Kha'Zix and this Jhin to wreak havoc.
Definitely. As we see what the final pick is for the first phase, it is the Kalista. Kalista gives Leon another way to go in, and I don't think Kalista is also that bad either. Definitely in the hands of a super skilled ADC, I think Kalista can destroy, but Jhin can stop her in her tracks if she does dash the wrong way, but it could also be turned on its foot, and the Kalista could dodge. But a Taric is also picked to give that Jhin the safety of the assassination from the Pantheon and the Leona.
Yeah, I really like this Taric pick. It makes the all-in engage just so much more difficult for the side of CPO because of the delay that Taric can offer with his invincibility for the entire team.
The Malphite ban is definitely good, especially since you have two sort of lethality building champions on the same team with Jhin and Kha'Zix. And unfortunately, they both are not so great into the Malphite. And the Twisted Fate ban coming out too, I'm guessing they don't want that mid pressure to be able to just stomp on their bot lane. Kalista is very susceptible to targeted CC, so I like to see that ban.
Yeah. Interesting enough, this is actually starting to turn out a little bit similar to what happened last night, with one team going straight for hard engage and the other one going for maneuverability defensive comp.
Last night we did see both teams try both comps out, and overall it was the defensive comp that did end up winning. The ones that did overengage were the ones that lost, but we'll see if Crosspoint can make it work. And the Mordekaiser ban means they might be looking for an Ornn pick.
Yeah, and if this is a top lane Pantheon here, then the CPO might have just made them waste 2 bans. That still can go top lane as well. We're going to get rid of the Aurelia as well.
Ooh.
Pretty good there.
I think Aurelia is better as a champion in the mid lane at the moment, mainly because she does not fare super well into other bruisers like the Camille, like the Fiora, like the Darius. But in mid lane, where mostly mages and squishier assassins are picked, I think she is a really good champion there. So I think they're trying to give their mid lane counter pick with that ban, or defend their mid lane at the very least.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be interesting to see what they go with. That they can give the
Wukong pick. I definitely like that pick. It's pretty good blind, mainly because it's very good into AD champions with its stacking armor on its passive, and the fact that it's able to get quick trades in and just run away without being punished.
And once again, this is this defensive top laner as well, because he can use his ultimate both aggressively and defensively to disengage or engage a fight.
And I think with the new mythics, it's easier for Wukong to get that survivability. He can spec into Gorjunker Death Stance and do really well into the double 80 comp of CPO.
Yeah, the side of GM just needs to be a little bit careful. Their last pick has to be AP, or they're going to have to be entirely reliant on AD damage, and they have to end this game early.
Ooh, the Elise pick is very interesting. That means they're looking to dive early. That's the only mode that champion is very good at. It's very poor in any other state. If you're not diving, you're not playing the champion right. So let's see if we do get some dives off level 3, maybe level 4. Well,
and that does all but confirm that the Pantheon is going top. It could still go mid.
Definitely.
But it's most likely going to be a top lane, which means that GM has wasted their last 2 bans.
All right, with the Yone picked up, Pantheon is definitely going top, but I do feel that CPO is a little squishy in the department. Other than the Leona, I don't think any of them are able to survive high burst. The Pantheon does have his E, but if they play around... Oh, and the Annie picked up. Very hard point-and-click CC for the Kalista to avoid.
This is going to be It's, once again, over-aggression versus complete defense.
Yeah.
The side of GM has built a comp that wants to be engaged on, and CPO wants to engage.
Alright, we should be heading into Champion Select very soon. But that Annie pick is looking kind of scary, especially because of how low range their comp is in general. The only form of long range they have is Pantheon R and Yone R. So.
Yeah, and their sole amount of AP damage is from the Elise as well, which, as you said earlier, falls off in the later stages of the game.
Exactly.
Which basically means they have a full AD comp.
So we're just looking out here, seeing where each champion will go. It could be Yone top. I've seen a few players play it, especially in our little league that we have here. So I'm excited to see where it does go.
Yeah, I don't think they take the Yone top lane, because I don't think Yone wins that 1v1 against the Wukong. I do think Wukong would handily beat the Yone in a 1v1 matchup. However, I don't think the Yone is going to have an easier time against the Annie either. So
I feel as though if the Annie does get behind, though, the champion doesn't really do all that much. Her AP scaling isn't the highest in the game, and I really if Godmade does want to do well into the later stage of the game, that Annie does have the scale, just like that Elise has the scale in order to do anything. And so it is the Pantheon top picked up here.
now that's going to be a bit harder of a matchup for the Wukong. Pantheon is one of the top laners in the game right now, dominating pretty much everybody except for the big 3, which is, I believe, is Darius, Malphite, and Camille at the moment.
Yeah. So Kha'Zix and Annie picked up for jungle and mid, which does make sense.
Yeah, and with the especially with the Elise and Yone, it's going to be a bit harder for the Annie to actually get a lead, because Elise, Yone have a pretty good gank setup where the Elise can just jump in and the Yone can get all of his damage off and then use his E to get back before taking much of anything from the Annie and possibly kill her as well.
Definitely. So
I think the side of CPO has definitely a lot more options to actually team fight if it comes down to that. But Godmade has the options to try and hold off the team fight and then re-engage once they've blown everything. Whereas Crosspoint has basically, they want to go all in and kill as many as possible in a short amount of time. Godmade wants to extend the fight for as long as possible and then kill people with maybe the Kha'Zix flanking from behind and the Wukong coming from invisibility.
Definitely. It's very, very scary for Crosspoint to play into it with their relatively low range.
Yeah, no, Noah's not playing Kassadin this time around. Don't worry, we know it's a crime.
So I do definitely feel that it is easier to execute on the side of Godmade because they have a lot of tools to dissuade their hard engage.
Yeah, I definitely agree. However, if the side of Crosspoint is not, or if the side of Godmade is not careful, this could spiral out of control very quickly, and they could lose the game in 20-25 minutes.
Yeah. If they are allowed to get ahead, if that Elise does scale faster, or it is accelerated through either invades or, you know, tower dives like I suggested, I do think it's very, very hard for Godmade to play it out if they do falter in, you know, the way they do play.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what what their strategy is going into this game. Because right now I can tell you guys that the comps are very closely matched as far as what both want to accomplish with what they're trying to do.
I do think that both teams have decent scaling with both the Wukong, the Jin, and the Yone. I do feel Callista's damage does fall off. She's not super far ahead, but Yone, on the other hand, scales with crit. Crit scales incredibly well into the game, and the fact that he also does have some magic damage built into his kit does help him scale further because people can't just fully spec into armor.
Yeah, whereas the side of Crosspoint, they have a few more avenues to, or they don't really have tanks on their side, so they're not probably going to be building armor or magic resist other than the basic boots, maybe some like hybrid pieces like Death's Dance or Maul of Malmortius for the Annie specifically, especially if the Annie gets ahead. So
yep, I do think if the Leona is able to get those engages off while the Taric ultimate is down, it will be a lot easier for the side of Crosspoint to play it out. Like, they have to abuse how long that Taric ultimate is, otherwise it's incredibly difficult for them to play it out if they don't keep track of that timer. And just letting you guys know, predictions are open if you do want to, you know, play your tokens, see where it gets you. But I'm very excited to see how both teams do play this out. I do like how Pantheon his identity's been changed sort of with the way that his passive works on his ultimate. He gains scaling, you know, armor shred, about 10%, 20, and 30, depending on ultimate rank, which is really good, especially since champions like Jin have very little base armor, and if he does either go Eclipse or even just Gore Drinker, he'll be able to pop him if he isn't very careful.
Yeah, definitely. And with the Taric especially on the side of GM, something that's different from yesterday is whereas the Jin didn't have the protection he needed to actually get the damage down, this time around he has the Taric for protection, so they can send everybody all they want at the Jin and lock him down, but as long as that Taric is there with the ultimate down, you can target Jin all you want, he won't die because he's invincible, which is something that's very different than how the Jin was able to handle the game yesterday.
All right, I'm just going to send it over to a quick break while we do load into game. Just remember, you do have time to vote, or you do have time to set your bets in, so let's see where it goes. See you guys in a bit.
I saw you smile from across the bar. Yeah, she was pretty and so close but so far. She flipped her hair and I thought this can't be true. How does a man like me get someone like you? And then she looked at me and I was confused. Everyone here can't be the one that she'll choose. And I looked back and saw the spark in her eyes. This can't be real, my head's telling me lies.
And it looks like
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Looks like they might have been expecting a topside invade. Either that or they're trying for a counter. Looks like they're expecting an invade from there, which doesn't seem like it's going to be happening. A standard 5-point from the side of CPO.
Minions have spawned.
Yeah, and while we're talking about interesting rune choices, we have the Yone going for fleet footwork. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I do find the PTA on the Callista interesting. Usually I see lethal tempo on her, so... I think he just really wanted that CS. Yeah, and it just goes to show that the early game team that they picked... Ooh. No, I mean, especially the higher EO, when do you think the last time these people have seen an Annie in the mid lane? A questionable W there. Yeah, and luckily they're both on the same side right now, so if Elise does come in, looks like Elise is heading for a gank on the top side. Probably not. Oh boy. Yeah, like I said in the pregame, it's not going to be an easy matchup. Yeah. Yeah, that was a rather questionable decision to try and go for a fight there with the Kha'Zix isolated by
And they're
yourself
fighting
against
again?
a...
Oh. And
Oh,
nothing
boy.
is made of it, I guess.
I don't think you're going to need a Telecaster with how much they're fighting. You're going to be talking nonstop.
Very true, very true. I just realized I was muted for a good amount of it.
Chat is saying that you might be muted.
Yeah, I just unmuted.
Okay.
So we are seeing the bot lane rotate for that bottom scuttle, which is a very, very good play from the bot lane because they do have, or I don't think red side does have the prio, but the support just being there makes it a whole lot easier for Kha'Zix to claim it without much issue.
Yeah, and Elise was still in base. There was no chance of Elise even getting up there to go and do it. Already took the topside scuttle, but you already see there's already a difference in CS between the two junglers, 32 to 20, about 2 camps ahead there.
Definitely. It looks like red side is posturing for a potential dragon, but I do think Kha'Zix is pathing towards top, so it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it is just the Cloud Drake, as what many people say is the most useless of the Drakes, especially not even a Soul Drake. Most junglers don't even prioritize it. I wouldn't be surprised to not see it be taken till like the 10 or 11 minute mark.
So Elise has spotted that Kha'Zix on the ward up by the Raptor pit. So they do know where he is, and they do know he's pathing topside. So I expect the Pantheon to just let this wave either... He has to thin it in order to freeze it, or he's just going to let it crash into tower.
Yeah, and it looks like that's exactly what the bot side is doing as well. The
They're going
Elise
in.
is coming down.
In goes the Leona onto the Jhin. The Jhin is in a bad position. I think they're going to have to just run away here.
Oh.
Ignite down, and they're going to dive it, and he's dead. Tarek is going to try and trade it, but I don't think he can. Leona goes in,
Ooh.
and she makes it out with the extra stats from the W. Without that W, I don't think Leona lives that. But that was a very well-executed chase from blue side.
Yeah, and just like that, despite the first blood from the Annie, the rest of this team from CPO is starting to pull ahead. We have 2-1 on the Callista and 2-0 on the Leona.
Very scary. A Fed Leona is also just as scary as a Fed Callista, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, and she's their sole tank on their team, and if she gets fed, then you're not going to be able to kill her at any point in the early game. The Kha'Zix is taking this opportunity to go ahead and take the topside jungle from the Elise to try and just extend
Pantheon's
his
roaming.
lead.
And he flashes the R. It does make it so Pantheon and Yone R's were used, both on relatively long cooldowns. I think Pantheon is about 3 minutes. And here comes Kha'Zix jumping into the Pantheon. The Pantheon still has its E up, but he doesn't E the Annie R and just pops.
Oh, no.
I think all he needed to do there was try and E the Annie damage. That R has such high base numbers and does scale relatively well into the late game. But they are going for another aggressive trade here. And Yone just backs off. With the level disadvantage, I think it's a lot smarter, and the fact that Tibbers is still up.
Yeah, definitely. Whereas the bot lane seems to be struggling quite hard, the top half of the map for the side of GM is starting to take over.
Oh, the Elise
And
might be
looks like
caught
the
here.
Elise is
Elise
about
might
to
be
get caught
here.
out.
Oh, the fight go. Oh, Tarek just almost got burst. Elise uses E. But Elise is also 1 HP, but they are both just going to walk away, walk it out. I think it's smarter for both teams not to overcommit there, because it's a lot worse for blue side, because the wave is pushing, so they would end up losing a lot of minions for that play.
Yeah, and I will say that because of how that fight went, it does go to the side of GM, just because the Jhin gets a Dark Harvest stack off of it.
Definitely.
And that makes them more powerful than just chunking out the support there.
Even though
Fight's just
Wukong
going
is
on
known for those
everywhere.
obnoxious trades, the Pantheon isn't getting that low, all things considered. Oh, but the Wukong R comes out, and I think Pantheon is just dead here. And he is. That R just shreds max health percent, and he just disappeared without any tabis or anything like that. I think into Wukong, you have to rush Ninja Tabis. That champion has such high damage from his autos. Oh, and the Leona flashes in, lands her R. And I think Tarek is just dead here. Yeah. Tarek did not have 6, so he was not able to cast his R. So, overall, not looking too hot on the bot side.
Yeah, I don't think they were expecting, because the Leona to hit 6 before the Callista.
Yeah.
Like, the Tarek is level 4, Jhin
And
is
you
level
do
6.
take Drake off of that, which is a very good rotation from the bot lane. They are going to give up a couple minions because of where the wave is going to end up, but I think it is worth it just to start getting that soul or it built up.
And ended up being right. It was around 10 minutes before they ended up taking that Drake. This goes to show how little priority they have over it. Kha'Zix is hovering the top side. It looks like he might be wanting to go for the Rift Herald, and that's exactly what he's starting up right now. He knows he has the stronger top side, and he's going to be playing around that. He hasn't even visited bot side whatsoever. He knows that they're losing right now, and they just need to survive while the rest of his team gets ahead.
I don't like the Eclipse from the Pantheon at the Belvid. Because of the way Wukong works, the armor just negates that item entirely. I honestly think Gorge-Drinker... Oh, and in comes a good trade from the Annie. Just almost one-shotting the Yone, and he's just dead to ignites. Super quick, super clean. Can't believe I'm saying that about an Annie, but I don't know how he didn't respect the damage.
Yeah, I think it's just the inexperience of playing against Annie. Annie's one of those champions that you don't see all too often. When you do, you're kind of surprised by the amount of damage that Annie can bring, especially with the new item changes. Annie's a lot stronger than what people expect her to be able to deal with.
I think they're just going to drop the Rift Herald here. It is at 2 plates, so it's a guaranteed tower. but they are taking a lot of damage, and they are looking for a fight here. The Elise uses E to dodge most of the damage from the Kazakhs, and she does use Flash to get out, but Pantheon is also really low. I think Pantheon's just dead here to the Wukong R, but he does E the damage, but Wukong Flash Qs and E's, and both are just dead. Dead in the water. No chance. Good dive execution,
And that is a 4-0 Wukong, and he's going to get the turret plating. That means he's gotten all 5 of those turret plates.
First
all
turret is
to
also
himself
given
there.
over, which means global gold to all of blue team. Or, I mean, all of red team.
Oh, man. This is, despite the fact that the bot side is absolutely dominating, Callista and Leona are not going to have a very easy time against an extremely
going
fed.
in. Oh, Jin is just CC to Oblivion. Tarek is just hiding. I don't... Wait. What was he doing? What was he doing? Okay, Wukong TP's onto the Callista. Callista might just be dead here. But the peel from the Leona is huge, which does keep the Callista alive, which allows Yone to show up. But I think she's going to just be the sacrificial lamb here, unless she is able to get away.
Yeah.
In the end, she does walk away with, you know, I guess a quarter of HP, but it's not terrible. Oh, in goes the Elise onto the Wukong, but Wukong only took half his health, but Yone gets a two-man R, but I think both of them do just die here. They can't fight like that when they're so far behind. It will never work. They don't have the stats to back up their damage.
Yeah, I mean, the Pantheon 0-4, we have 0-2 Elise, and Elise is an early game champion that is losing in the early game. This is something that we were talking about in the pregame, just how difficult it was going to be if this Elise doesn't get a lead early. And now the Elise is down 2 kills and almost
They're
50
fighting
CS.
bot side. The Jin R is going to try and land onto the Callista. He does get the Dark Harvest stack. The Leona is just 1v1ing the Kazakhs for some reason. But Pantheon might just be dead here again. The Wukong is just sprinting at him face first. Walking behind the E to make sure his damage lands, and Wukong is just dead again. They are diving the Leona. Jin is tanking, and he does live, and Leona is just dead here to the Jin.
Yeah.
I do think that overall the top side of the map is playing incredibly well.
Yeah, and despite the fact that, despite how well the bottom side of the map for CPO is doing, they're not getting much of anything done because of how far ahead. We have 6-0s, 3-0, and 2-0.
Annie flashes over, gets the R, and Yone is just dead again. He's not respectful of the Annie damage at all. He's just walking up without any jungle coverage or anything.
Yeah.
I do think you are right about his like, I guess, underestimation of Annie's damage. But the fact that
There's no other way to think about it. Like, what else could it be other than you're just not respecting, well, not respecting, less so respecting, but not understanding the amount of damage that Annie can do.
But he's also so far behind, too. There is very little reason to walk up when you are so far behind. And if you don't have vision of the Annie, you should expect her to be there.
Yeah, definitely.
The dragon is spawning soon, which does... I mean, who's going to fight for it? I think it's just guaranteed red side at this point. But they do have no vision control, so it might be a blue side. Oh, the Jin is dead again. Walks up. Oh, he does use the Gale Force to get away, but he's just dead anyways. Tarek is trying his best, but I don't think it matters. But
if there's any shining point for CPO right now, it's the Callista. And Callista is...
And he goes in. Leona's taken out of the fight, but Annie does not have R. But Wukong just dies.
Oh, and they shut him down.
Annie didn't have R. They can't fight without Annie R, unfortunately. If you want to take an outnumbered fight with the Wukong and the Annie, you need to have Annie R. Wukong R is not enough. I do like to see that blue side is fighting with numbers advantage. I think that is the only way they had to actually even come out on top here.
Yeah, and they know that right now Callista and Leona right now are their shining point, and they need to get them as far ahead as possible. Unfortunately, that shutdown on the Wukong does go to the Elise. While it does accelerate Elise's build just a little bit, that's not the person you really wanted it to go to. And it looks like they're going to try for a gank here on
Whiffs
the
the
Annie.
E, and unfortunately means nothing comes of it.
Yeah, they do have a man advantage if the Pantheon is to roam down. It would be a 2v3, but you see the Tarek and the Jin are roaming topside, which will allow the side of CPO to go ahead and grab this bottom turret pretty much for free
Yeah.
as a response to the mid turret going down.
I think that red side is looking for the Rift Herald. That is spawning in a couple seconds. And they're just trying to gain vision control topside to make sure they can guarantee the objective without having any contest.
Yeah, and with the Rift Herald coming up, yeah, I don't think because of how late the side of CPO was to respond, I don't think they're going to be able to get there nearly in time. They're just going to have to give this up.
Down goes the Rift Herald, and which means up goes red side's gold lead.
Oh,
and Pantheon might just be dead again. Don't even have to burn any Rs. Does burn the Pantheon flash. Wukong does burn his own flash. I don't think that is worth, but Annie might be caught out here. But Tarek is there to give her the R so she does not die.
Yeah, it looks like they're just going to have to disengage. No, the Elise is still
They
chasing.
are over chasing. I don't think they can. Kha'Zix is going to be there soon, and they land the E on the Tarek. The worst target, or the Wukong. The Wukong just pops. Down goes the Annie. I think they're all low HP. Down goes Tarek. Kalista is kiting the Kha'Zix, but he does land that Q. He's going on Leona, and with Q, reset, reset, reset. That's what this fight is all about, but Kha'Zix might just be caught out here, jumping into 2, not getting that isolated damage. And he is able to land her EW, and that does kill, or QW, which does kill him, and she's gonna run straight at the Yone. If she does have her E up, she can just get the move speed and one-shot him. But Pantheon comes in with his R, trying to maybe gonna run at her, but I don't think he has the MS. And he does get away with her E, and safety first, I guess. Run away before anything else bad happens.
And that's another shutdown for the side of CPO. That one also goes to Elise, unfortunate. Elise getting those 2 big shutdowns, while it is good to get that gold into the pocket of CPO, is bad because it's going to the Elise and not the one that you need it going to, like the Kalista.
I think what happened there, the fight was very red side favored, but Kha'Zix jumped into 2 of them, which means he lost the isolation damage, which helped them pop almost 3 of the enemy team members. I think without that isolation damage, Kha'Zix doesn't do much, but the Jin does use his heal and Gale Force to get away. A lot of abilities burn for almost nothing in return.
Yeah, I don't think he was aware just how far away the Kalista was.
Oh, or Elise might just be caught out here. She used her E, no repel, but Annie just gets her guaranteed stun, and she just pops like a balloon. Squash the bug, I guess.
Now it looks like they're heading down towards the bot side, and Leona's going to be caught out here.
Here comes, Leona uses the E to dash the Kha'Zix, lands the R on 1, but I think she's just dead to the isolation damage from Kha'Zix and Wukong. With her armor shredded, she can't do anything. Kha'Zix jumps into 2, but just manages to walk away.
Yeah. Kha'Zix got a little too excited there after that after the kill onto the Leona. Wanted to try and go in, didn't realize Yon was there, and immediately backed off.
I think he realized his mistake from the first fight. You can't take any unisolated, or take down any unisolated targets. Pantheon will be able to get that first tower, or topside tower though, which does give him a little bit of goal, but the fact that he's 0-6, I think it's almost unplayable for him now.
Yeah, I mean, he is 0-6 and his laner is 7-2, but he does have a pretty nice CS lead, which does only keep the gap at about 2,000, which is a lot lower than what you'd expect for somebody that's 0-6 to a 7-2.
There is a fight over the red buff here. I think if Elise even tries to contest this, she just dies. Annie, Tarek, and Kha'Zix are all there, but they are fighting it. They choose to fight it, and Elise just pops. Leona tries to R the Jin. Yone does land his ER onto the Jin, but he does flash over the wall to get away. Kalista lands her 2-man ulti onto the Kha'Zix and Tarek, but Leona's just dead for it, and if anyone can go over the wall, Yone dies too. But Pantheon jumps onto the backline, jumps onto the Wukong, and Kalista dies to the Kha'Zix because she was isolated. But Pantheon's probably just dead again here. He jumped to his demise. Leap of faith, more like leap of death, I guess. Unfortunate. I think they're just trying to force fights. They need to realize that they're playing from very far behind and can't take anything. They have to take a fight where they have numbers advantage, confirmed numbers advantage. They can't take anything that isn't 100% at this point.
Yeah, and this was the biggest problem that we talked about going into this game, where CPO does have the a hard engaged advantage, but they don't have the survivability to stay in these fights like the side of GM does.
Because
And
red side. Oh, sorry, my bad.
I was just gonna say that, and because how badly the early game went for the top half of the map, it makes it nearly impossible for their fed bottom half of the map to even be able to play the game because of how powerful the Annie, Kha'Zix, and the Wukong are, who can literally just dive into the back line where this Kalista wants to be, safe and away from the enemy team. But when the rest of your team can't hold the line for more than half a second, the Callista can't put out any damage, so the person that you got fed is useless in these fights.
I like what the Annie's building here. She looks like she's building towards a Zonia's Hourglass with that cloth armor and amplifying tome, which is very smart because the only damage dealer on red side is that Callista. Pantheon doesn't do anything. Elise doesn't do anything. Yone doesn't do anything. So it's very smart to itemize towards your only threat.
Yeah, not only that, the Annie also has 24 out of 25 stacks for the Magi Soul Stealer.
That is a very scary Annie. I wouldn't be surprised if that R one-shots the Callista without her shield bow up.
Yeah, and as I'm pretty sure the Callista would have liked something other than the shield bow, but with how far ahead the rest of the team is, I do think the shield bow was a smart buy. And they also have the Runon's Hurricane as well, and it looks like they're probably going to be a little too early to tell what they're going for, just a longsword in their inventory right now.
Mm-hmm.
They do have only 600 gold, so we're not going to find out what they want to go for next. Maybe something to cut down on the healing of the Kha'Zix. I would expect an Executioner's Calling.
I would honestly like to see it, but I don't think it's going to come through on anyone other than the Callista. I think Pantheon should have spec'd into Bramble Vest to deal with the Wukong, mainly because Bramble Vest does help in the armor department. But Leona takes almost half her health, but she does land both her E and her R onto the Kha'Zix, but he just is able to jump away because of Tarakar. But that is a big cooldown burn. The Pantheon might just be dead here. Wukong does burn his flash. Pantheon just getting shredded through that R, and his flash burn too, and he's just dead. But Annie over here uses her stopwatch in the middle of 4, and she does get popped for it, but so does Elise with that Tibbers. That Tibbers just did so much damage, and Callista just dies to both the combination of Tibbers and, I guess, Kha'Zix. And Kha'Zix just one-shots Yone with one rotation. Unbelievable how fed that Kha'Zix and Annie are.
Yeah, and I think they just end the game here. They don't really even need Baron. I think they just end the game. There's nothing that the other side can do. Unless there's some sort of miraculous fight at the very end here. We got 3 seconds on the Pantheon, 2 seconds on the Elise. Looks like they're just going to leave, and looks like they're going to head for Baron.
I do think Baron is the guaranteed call to end the game, but I don't know if they're going to be able to end it off of one Baron. Leona uses her R onto the Wukong, lands her E. I think Wukong might be able to outplay this if he plays it right, but he is getting hard to see. That Gore Drinker heal was insane, but he does pop, mainly because of that Callista E. She waited for that Gore Drinker to proc before she did pop it.
Yeah, and this time the shutdown of an extra 200 gold, so what is it, 400 or 600 gold for the Callista goes into her pocket there.
So we do see that the red team is going for Baron here, which is the smarter play. I think Wukong did overextend there, considering they did have Pantheon and Leona bot side. But overall, I don't think blue side can contest it. But it looks like they are going to. And red side does walk off.
Yeah, it is a 4. No, it would have been a 4v4. The Pantheon can join, obviously, with the ultimate. But I don't think they wanted to fight because their one, Suedo tank is dead right now, and the Tark ultimate is on cooldown. While they do have the Annie ultimate, that's pretty much their only form of hard CC to stop the Callista from maneuvering and killing all of them.
I think they are just going to try and set up vision for the Drake spawning in about 30 seconds here. We do see 4 members heading bot with the Wukong with teleport advantage, or not teleport advantage, but teleport heading up to the top side to try and push.
Yeah, and I don't think that the side of CPO is going to be able to stop this dragon from being taken here, which will give 2 Ocean Drakes to the side of GM, which on a team that's already hard to kill with the amount of lifesteal and Omnivamp that they already have, it's going to be a bit even harder to be able to kill them when they have, if this game goes that far, an Ocean Soul.
I don't think it will reach soul point for either team, but if it does, I do favor red side taking that dragon I don't think if it is a 5v5 fight, blue team stands a chance. They need to look for picks. They need to try and play in pockets of vision that red side doesn't have, and look for those isolated targets. It looks like or red side is going for that Baron though, which is a good play. But Annie does jump right into a Leona, lands the E, lands the Q. She's just perma CC'd. I think she's just dead to everything. That 1,000 gold going straight over to the Callista, but Jin is not able to do any damage to the Leona, and she's just pulled out with the R. Tarek does cast his R though, but it's not landed on the Kha'Zix or the Jin, and the two squishy targets are just about to pop. But Elise dies, and so does Yone. But Jin does manage to live with 1 HP. Down goes all of blue team. It's going to be an ace. It's going to be an ace. And they're just going to turn that into a Baron or maybe even an end.
No, they're just going to go end the game. They have minions in the in their base right now.
That Gore Drinker wave clear with Ravenous Hydra did so much. But I think it is just game over.
Yeah. Death timers are just a little bit too long, and it looks like the side of GM is going to go up 1-0 in this best of 3 here.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's pretty much over, and that's game. What a fun one to watch.
Oh.
All right, we're just going to jump into the post screen over here.
It looks like you did not close the poll for who would win the game.
My bad.
Somebody has taken advantage.
Someone may or may not have taken advantage, but we will get to see the damage charts over here. Oh, actually, I can't. Never mind. But overall, it was an exciting game to watch. I don't think that blue side played to their strong suits. They needed to play around the top side, and unfortunately, the top laner didn't play very well into the Wukong, and Annie was able to take over and make sure Yone couldn't roam. I do think Yone has faster wave clear because of how often his Q is up, which should allow him to roam and make the top side strong, which unfortunately wasn't able to happen because of that early poke that Annie was able to land.
Yeah, and he just wasn't able to. It didn't seem like he understood the amount of damage that, like we said throughout the game, he didn't understand Annie's damage and how much Annie could dish out, and it constantly ended up biting him. Died 2 or 3 times just from the amount of damage that Annie can put out.
Oh, scratch that.
Reason to...
Oh, sorry. I am able to see the damage. So we can see the fact that Kha'Zix and Wukong and Annie all did so much damage. About 18,000 for the Wukong, 19 for the Kha'Zix, and 16 for the Annie. The closest one was the Callista with 13k.
Yeah, and somebody that was a former Gen player, and I'm pretty sure to anybody that's a Gen main out there, it's a little disappointing to have only 5,000 damage on one of the top 80 carries.
Mm-hmm. I do think that the bot lane of blue side played incredibly well. So while we do that, I'm going to set up a poll for our player of the game, and we'll head straight to break, and hopefully you guys will have voted for that. Yeah, so player of the game is Mr. Lunar Effect. He played the Kazakhs incredibly proficiently. Overall, his farming was very good. The way he played out the early game, considering it was into a Pantheon Elise, which is a very scary top jungle duo, is incredible. And he was able to both help his top laner and his bot lane in the mid to late game, be able to carry throughout. Any comments, Mr. Dream, about last game? Okay. Well, I do think it was very one-sided apart from the bot lane. I think it was very like the laners of both Godmade, played incredibly well with the early trading from the Wukong into the Pantheon was pretty crazy with the way he was able to just dodge out from the damage of Pantheon, and the Annie was able to poke from the long range that she's known for with her almost or just over 600 auto range and able to just get those solo kills onto the Yone, something that I did not expect. Anything you have to say, Mr. Dream?
So when I've been playing, whenever I see a Yone or a Yasuo or a Katarina, I've just been kind of one-tricking the Malzahar. So to see that Annie also works against the Yone just gives me more ammunition in my pocket to try and combat this Yone god complex that everybody seems to be having lately.
Definitely agree with you there. I think that the Yone is a generally strong champion if played correctly, but unfortunately it wasn't able to stand up to the Annie, which I was not expecting very much. I thought the Annie was going to, falter, mainly because it is relatively squishy with a low armor, or with a low base armor compared to the Yone.
Yeah, I would have thought the same thing too, but like I said, nobody really sees Annie being played except for the lower elo people. Like I see Annie's probably like 2 or 3 times a week, whereas probably somebody that's in diamond or high plat, low to mid diamond, they probably see Annie like maybe once every 2 to 3 months.
Other than Annie bot, I don't think there are very many high elo players who play the champion.
Yeah, definitely.
So we are ready to send it to the draft, and I will do so just now. Over to draft we go. So everyone is just ready up and loaded in, so we are about to start.
Can we just call CPO C3PO and just get it over with by now? Just so that way the joke's out of my head.
We do see the first ready up coming through with 5 seconds of the draft, and once again, the Morgana banned. I guess looking for that CC again with the Taric. And Thresh is banned from, I guess, relatively similar bans from last time. Graves is also banned as well.
Yeah, it looks like they're going for it, and there's the difference in the bans. We have the Annie being banned now.
I don't think they prepped for it.
I wonder if they'll take the Wukong away as well.
I think the Annie was incredibly strong of a pick. It was just able to abuse the Yone.
Yeah, and now that they've seen the Kazakhs, I don't think GM go for it again because now CPO is expecting it, and they probably will have a way to counter it.
So down goes Diana. Once again.
No, these are the same bands that they did on... Yep, that they did not change a single thing. They kept their same bands. CPO seems to have switched it up just a little bit. Going with the Annie ban here. Interested to see what they go with next and what the first pick is, because there's a lot of options. They're going to go ahead and get rid of the Olaf.
Very scary
which
pick.
Means I'm fairly certain this might just be the Kazakhs or the Wukong again, just because of how dominant those two were. Unless CPO actually has answers for it, allowing those two through, I wouldn't be surprised if GM goes for a first pick on either one of those.
Let's see what the first blind pick is. Who are they going to give it to? I think it's probably easy to blind pick a carry, honestly, because of the meta right now. There's just 2 dominant with, or maybe 3 dominant with Kai'Sa and Jhin. But they are just going to first pick the Kazakhs.
Yeah, it's like they didn't. The side of CPO didn't really have an answer for the Kazakhs, and Kazakhs just kind of dominated the entire top side of the map, just ignoring the bottom side where their team was struggling, and ended up paying off for them. I believe he ended up going deathless that entire game, or did it finally go down?
I think he did die
twice?
once. I can verify that for you real quick. He did die once, yes. That was at that fight topside where he... And they do pick the Pantheon! And the Leona once
They're
again.
going for the... They think the main problem was the Leona, or was the Annie, and they're going to go with the Pantheon and switch out the Taric for the Leona. I do like this switch around. It makes the Pantheon Leona just a bit... Or no, they did have the Leona last game. Yeah, they did have the Leona last game. So they're going for the same exact picks they have here, or they had last time. And if Psychonautic is probably just giddy with joy, he's like, I get to play Wukong again, and is probably smiling.
Yeah, I do think both solo laners, Psychonautic and Sarah, were just able to play their lanes incredibly well, able to trade without getting traded back, able to CS without much issue. It was, and the Taric Draven was actually left up this time, so I'm excited.
Yeah,
to see
they opted to get rid of the Annie instead of the Draven, and Draven is locked in the second rotation. And here now we're starting to see the differences. We have the Lucian locked in that could go mid 80 carry or top, with the Pantheon still having 4 separate places he can go as well. If it's anything like Game 3 yesterday, might be a Lucian 80 carry. Then again, I know Psychonautic plays Lucian, so I wouldn't be surprised if it goes top.
Definitely. I think the Lucian is a very strong pick, especially into melees like the Wukong that was picked last game. So it would be interesting to see if it is a Pantheon mid or jungle with the Lucian top.
Yeah, and they do get rid of the Wukong, so that makes me think that it is going to be a Pantheon top. They don't want to deal with that again, so I'm going to say that this is probably going to be a Pantheon top with the Lucian either mid or 80 carry.
I think that's where they're trying to position it right now with their bans. Because Lucian would eat Wukong alive, especially with Kraken Slayer. But the Misfortune is also banned. I guess something with relatively long range is pretty good into the Draven, so I respect that ban. And the Twisted Fate is also banned once again, so no roaming mid laners here today, folks.
Now, there is a champion that would give Pantheon a bit of a hard time that is still open. That is the Camille. I don't know if Psychonautic plays it, and if he does, it's not a pick that I've seen him play often, if at all.
Fiddlesticks banned. I guess they want to force it to be an AP mid and get rid of the AD, and force it into the jungle with that Fiddlesticks ban. I do think he is one of the stronger jungles, especially with Protobelt being able to make him faster with his ultimate.
Yeah, and the item Cosmic Drive synergizes with his kit so well because the moment he lands any form of ability on you, he's running at you at Mach 5. And the moment he uses... Nunu's... I believe Nunu is the strongest jungler in the game right now. The amount of damage that he can dish out as a full tank and his pathing to gank pretty much any lane whenever he wants is just so strong, and Kha'Zix is going to actually have a lot of trouble keeping up with the Nunu.
And the fact that Nunu has crazy sustain on such a low cooldown and is also able to confirm objectives incredibly quick with his his Q Smite. You're able to confirm it at about 1000 HP super early into the game.
Yeah, and there's not many champions that can outsmite a Nunu. I believe maybe Cho'Gath is one of them because he does immediately 1000 true damage with his ultimate. Ooh. Malphite was left open from the previous picks and bans.
Very good pick into the Pantheon. If Malphite is able to play out the early game properly and just give up CS, I think Malphite just is 10 times more useful than a fed Pantheon. An even Malphite is a lot more useful than an even Pantheon.
Yeah, and interested to see what their last pick is going to be. They're getting close to running out of time. We're at 35 out of 40 seconds here.
Is it 45?
No, it's 40 seconds.
Oh, so they went overtime.
Yeah, they did go overtime here.
With a Xerath pick.
I'm actually not a big fan of GM's comp this time around. They're a little bit all over the place on what they're trying to do with their comp.
I completely agree with you there. They want to force fights with the Malphite and Draven and Kha'Zix, but they have a Xerath who loves to stay in the back line, and he has very little peel if Taric has to use that R to keep the Kha'Zix alive in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, and with the options to get to the back line with the Leona, the Pantheon, and the Sylas now.
Sylas
man.
pick.
This, I'm not feeling GM's comp this time around. Not at all.
I'm gonna have to agree with you there. Definitely not a fan of it. So it is that Lucian 80 carry. So apparently we do have a little bathroom break from one of the 80 carries before the game does start. But let's just, I will start the predictions now, just so we have that ready. But I do think that it is easier to now, because red side has 2 tanks. It's easier to execute on. Okay, so we are ready. So we are about to head into Champion Select. In a couple seconds.
All right. Yeah, looking at these comps here, if GM wants to win this game, they have to be really on point with their comp. Like, they can't make any mistakes. Whereas the side of CPO, they have a really easy comp to execute. The side of GM, they don't. They have to be very careful, and if they make even 1 or 2 mistakes, this game could be over.
However, once again, it is the Sylas, or it is only a single AP source of damage from CPO with that Sylas. And Sylas, he does heal a crazy amount, but I don't think, unless he gets super far ahead, his damage is crazy. He does need to accelerate his items in order for him to actually do damage. So if GM can withstand that snowball that is the Sylas Pantheon Nunu, I think it's a very winnable game for them.
Yeah, and looking on the side of GM, they don't have, like, if the Malphite can get a good ultimate off onto the Lucian and the Sylas, sure, yeah, you get rid of those and you might win that fight. But Sylas can also take Malphite's ultimate and do the same thing back to you guys. Sylas can take the Taric ultimate and make his entire team invulnerable. Taric can take the Draven, the Kha'Zix, and go invisible. He can take the Xerath's ultimate and kill you while you try to run away from him.
So it's a Sylas top and a Pantheon mid. I like that, because it's able to make sure that the Malphite isn't able to just get away with building armor early game into that Pantheon.
Yeah, and the Sylas is going to have a much easier time against the Malphite, and Xerath, while he does have a massive amount of range advantage on the Pantheon, the moment he gets a little too close to Pantheon, he's losing about 70% of his HP from a full rotation.
Exactly. But I do think the identity of CPO is very sound. They are looking for mostly engage with Leona Pantheon, with Nunu to follow it up with Snowball, or just to engage the fight, and Sylas being able to steal either Malphite ult, Taric ult, Kha'Zix ulti. They definitely have a secure identity in what their team is going to try and do.
Yeah, and...
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, but like last game, though, I think GM, once again, has another champion that just doesn't fit the identity. Like, Kha'Zix was the champion that didn't fit their identity last game. This time, it's the Xerath. Very long range, where most of the other team, or most of their, like, GM's team just wants to go in and brawl with the Draven, with the Taric, with the Malphite, and Kha'Zix. They want to get in your face, be right up there, punching you right up the jaw. But with the Xerath, it's very hard for it to play out, because that team is very susceptible to getting flanked, considering they have relatively low mobility on their carries.
Yeah. And something that I also find interesting, they decided to go with the Draven here, and usually Draven's a champion that you know you're going to get ahead on, but with how badly the bot side for GM lost their lane, it's kind of questionable for them to even consider going for the Draven, especially against such an early game dominant bot lane like Lucian Leona. Completely
agree with you there. Lucian Leona is a very, very scary kill lane. And Taric is definitely a lot squishier than Leona in the early game, so it will be very hard for Tarek to withstand the damage from, or base numbers from Leona and the scaling AD from Lucian. But if that Draven does get rolling, it's a world of hurt for Lucian and Leona.
Yeah, definitely. Just one kill could end the lane for the side of Lucian and Leona. However, the moment Lucian starts to get a lead and Draven can't actually start cashing in and starts dying repeatedly, or he just doesn't get to cash in, he's going to start losing that fight. And it's going to become more and more apparent the moment that Lucian gets Kraken Slayer. He's probably one of the few champions of the game where he can proc the Kraken Slayer almost instantly because of his double shot.
Definitely.
Which makes him, even though Draven being a much stronger 1v1 champion as far as DPS goes, once the Kraken Slayer comes in for Lucian, I don't think Draven can match up with the damage.
And because it's only the Malphite R that he really does have to dodge, I don't think the Lucian needs to spec into Gale Force like Jhin had to last game, right? He's able to just spec into that Kraken Slayer, just go full damage, and he can just reliably use his E to get out of the sticky situation that a Malphite could put him in.
Yeah, and the Kha'Zix, the problem with the Jhin or the Kalista from the last game, while was able to dash around, was not able to reposition enough to keep away from the Kha'Zix. This time around, the Lucian has a lot more options to has that massive dash to reposition and also gets a double shot on top of it.
One thing that's very scary for the side of GM is there's quite a bit of targeted CC or reliable CC with the Leona and the Pantheon and even Nunu. It's very hard for the Draven or Xerath to play out a backline fight properly because they have so many things to worry about.
Yeah, and the Sylas being able to just take the Malphite ultimate and enter the backline along with the Leona Pantheon while the Nunu plays support for the Lucian to just basically soak up the damage from anybody that tries to go after him, just kind of throws GM's comp into complete disarray when that fight does break out.
It's a lot easier to play out a front-to-back fight from the side of CPO. Even with that Malphite frontline, I don't think it's enough. I think into a Lucian you would need a double tank comp to actually deal with his damage.
And
Because
Lucian is one of the...
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
His single target damage is almost unmatched with how fast he can proc, Kraken Slayer. I think the only other ADC that could actually match up with that is Vayne.
Yeah, and Lucian is being hailed lately as one of the best tank killers in the game right now, alongside Vayne, who already has innate true damage. Basically, I said, let's take Vayne's uniqueness and put it into an item. Kind of made me mad. Anyways.
However, the Lucian is relatively short-ranged, right? And into a Xerath, into a Tarek, it could be kind of scary. I think the way GM has to play it out is play more of that disengage. Even though they do want to go in, I think they have to play more of the run-away comp with that Tarek peel and the Malphite using his R defensively rather than offensively.
Yeah, I do agree that they are playing long ranged, but I don't think it's going to matter because of how much lockdown they have. The moment any form of CC gets on this Xerath, he will, and there's a damage dealer nearby, he's just dead instantaneously.
Alright, I'm just going to send it over to a quick break while we do load in. Get your bets ready, guys. Here we go.
I saw you smile from across the bar. Yeah, she was pretty and so close but so far. She flipped her hair and I thought this can't be true. How does a man like me get someone like you? And then she looked at me and I was confused. Everyone here can't be the one that she'll choose. And I looked back and saw the spark in her eyes. This can't be real, my head's telling me lies. Just like that, you're coming closer to me. Come shake me, grab me, so I wake up from this dream. I can't breathe, come with me. I don't know if I can speak. Then she said, come with me and let's be free. The night is young and I think this could go far. The sky is dark, but you're my shooting star.
All right,
Can
guys,
see your
welcome,
face
welcome.
reflect upon
We
the
are
moon.
back here in game number 2, where we see if GM or CPO will, take the game. Will it? I don't know if we'll either see. I'm excited to see if we see GM win and take it in 2, or if CPO will drag it out to a game 3.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Yeah, I would like to see CPO drag it out to a game 3. However, if the side of GM wins this, I will be thoroughly surprised.
And they do place wards both up on the red buff side of the jungle for red side here. Just looking to get a little vision. Blue side is pinging the tri-bush area. I think they're expecting someone there.
Minions have spawned.
Yeah, they don't know where if Silas may have come over to try and ward the blue side's blue buff or not. So they're just trying to ping just to keep an eye out and make sure Silas did not go over there and do that. It looks like it's just gonna be a standard bot side start for both the junglers here.
Nunu definitely loves that blue buff, helps him with his mana issues from the Q. They
A
see
lot
Pantheon.
of pinging going on.
Yep. I guess they wanted to make sure Pantheon wasn't missing, so Kha'Zix is able to farm that red buff without any issues. Malphite did take the Comet, which is good, into the Sylas. Sylas' health regen, I don't think is very high. So, it's good to see that he's going to abuse the poke. I wonder if he did take Scorch.
Let's find out.
Oh, he did take Scorch. Yep.
He did take Scorch.
I definitely like that, because he needs to be able to get through this early game against the Sylas. Because, yeah, Sylas does build AP, and will have a stronger ultimate, but overall, Malphite will be more unkillable. All you need to do to make a Sylas use this is build Mortal Reminder, but there's an early gank coming out here from the Nunu, and that burns both, I think, just the Taric Flash.
Yeah, I think that was a little premature for the Leona Flash to try and get that off. I feel like if the Nunu waited maybe just like another second, then Leona gets 2, and then she can EQ.
Definitely. Oh, they're looking for a trade here. Red side or blue side does come out in favor of that.
Needs to be the Draven does need to be a little careful because the
Panda's once again getting chunked incredibly low, just like last time.
oh boy.
Malphite should
Yeah,
not be doing this into a Sylas.
Yeah, on the bright side though, the Sylas is going to be able to survive this pretty well and stay in the lane, because while the Malphite does have a lot of damage, look how much mana he has to expend to keep this damage up, and he's burning through his potions really fast. Yes, the Sylas is down 1-1 as far as the biscuits and the corrupting pot go, but he also does have the Kingslayer, which gives him health back, so
Very true.
he can still stay pretty healthy in this matchup, even if he goes low. Whereas the Malphite has to burn these pots just to keep mana and power in the lane.
I do like how Sarah's positioning. He's very good at positioning himself very far from both the melee mid laners that he's faced. So he's making sure to just poke. He is rotating down to make sure his jungler is safe, but I think they already know that the scuttle is gone.
Yeah, and once again, we're starting to see a small lead start to break apart between the junglers. The Kha'Zix is getting ahead in farm over the Nunu, which is a little bit surprising because Nunu's hailed for how easily or how fast he can do his clears.
Like you said, the Sylas has gained back so much HP from his Kingslayer. Oh, Leona missed the ward, unfortunately.
Yeah, and the Malphite doesn't want to fight him anymore because look how big that wave is. It's been stacking.
If he Qs that, he's
heading
going to
towards
tank
him now.
for like 15 minions. But there's a fight going on. I think Malphite may be dead here. Oh, no, he's not. But there's also a fight going on in the bot lane. Taric is ignited. But he does manage to land a stun on the Leona. Heal is burned from Draven. And they walk away with a sliver of HP, both the support and top laner.
Yeah, and the Nunu was there, but he never actually got close enough to actually do much of anything.
Malphite is out of corrupting stacks. But Malphite might just get solo killed here, and he is. Did not respect the Sylas damage. But Kha'Zix might be looking to clean it up.
Coming up there.
But Sylas does have 6, though. Okay, directed cam. Sylas flash out. Oh, no! The auto didn't land because of the R. He might just be dead here to Nunu, but he is dealing a lot of damage, and Sylas can't walk back at all. So he is able to get a Dark Harvest stack here. Xerath is walking into the face of Pantheon. He's getting full comboed, but he is actually winning out on the trade. So
Pantheon doesn't exactly have that much damage just yet, so he's not gonna win out on these trades because Xerath's bait's damages are pretty high. And you can see how much this the bot side for same Page and Jester at time is struggling here. They're down in CS quite a bit already, and
and the fact that Sylas is up on CS and a kill into the Malphite is really good for him.
Yeah, he needs to be a little bit careful. That is a big minion wave that he's trying to engage into there.
For sure. And we see that Malphite is speccing into the tank build with the double Ruby Crystal, which will build into a Bammy Cinder. So no full AP Malphite for anyone today. Oh, wow, Pantheon just pops there. And directed cam sort of betrayed me there, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, betrayed both of us there. Looks like the poll is still going for some reason.
I thought I ended that. My bad. I will close that right now. But overall, both teams are playing it well. There is a pretty big CS lead towards the mid lane, with about just over 9. But the wave is shoving into him, but Sylas is engaging on the Malphite, but isn't able to do all that much damage, surprisingly, with that item advantage.
But he does have his ultimate is up, and the Malphite knows it. He needs to be very careful on...
This is the E. Malphite goes in, but that Kingslayer heal keeps the Sylas alive. It was looking very grim. Oh, here comes 4-man bot into the turret, and he's just popped too. No R, not able to keep himself alive. Malphite here, Sylas is in lethal. Oh, but they're re-engaging onto the Draven. Draven burns his flash, might be able to live this one, and he is able to walk away unless he walks up for no reason.
Yeah, the Kha'Zix actually evolving the, what is that,
Oh, Kha'Zix is getting dove, and he's just dead here. But Draven does get that kill onto Leona, which gives him an additional 300 gold. Pantheon flash ignites and kills the Draven. Oh, Malphite flashes the R from the Sylas, and I think Sylas is just dead to Corrupting and Scorchburn.
That was a beautiful flash from the Malphite there to just... Oh, boy.
Nunu's doing what he's doing best.
Going on everywhere.
Taking Drake. Nunus are very good at that, very proficient with inbuilt healing in their kit. And the fact that they can free smite at 800 at level 5.
Yeah, and he's going to get that done before anybody's even the wiser that he's doing it right now.
I like the fact that the Leona did rotate up towards that dragon, just to make sure Nunu is able to secure that, and if there is a fight, be able to support the Nunu.
It looks like the next dragon is going to be an Ocean Drake, which means we are not having an Ocean Soul this time. One of my friends, actually another caster on the desk, Overcomer, or OG she says he's now called, has a little table that basically predicts which dragon it's going to be based on the first two. And because of it being Cloud and Ocean, I believe the soul is going to be Infernal.
I'm interested to see why the Taric has bought a tier. I don't know if that's the greatest buy for that champion, because I think you can spec into Zeke's pretty easily and get mana from that item instead. Sylas is probably just dead here, just gets burst by both the Kha'Zix and Malphite, just walking up and killing him without any contest.
Yeah, he needs to be more aware of his surroundings there. He thought he was just clearing a ward, but it's so easy for the Kha'Zix to get into these places and just basically kill people before you even have a chance to react. The Rift Herald is spotted out by Nunu, and it looks like Pantheon might be trying to rotate.
They're
No,
just
it looks
ganking
like they're
mid.
going mid
Good
for
flash from the Xerath. He knows he has to. Maybe look for a little poke on the Nunu as well.
Meanwhile, the Kha'Zix is going to be able to complete and is going to finish the Rift Herald there.
I like the Bramble Vest buy from the Malphite. Even though Silas is an AP champion, a lot of his damage does come from his passive autos, right? So if he wants to land that damage, he has to auto the Malphite, which means he does apply Grievous Wounds to himself, so it is a trade-off.
Yeah, I definitely agree, despite I believe that his passive does do magic damage. Even though it is still an auto attack, is an auto attack, so it will still apply the Grievous Wounds.
Exactly. So it is a good buy, even though it doesn't really help him in, I guess, the resistance department against that, the Silas. I wouldn't be surprised for the Psychonautic to go towards the Sunfire Aegis, and Lucian does E4 there and not punished for it.
This Draven's playing extremely aggressive. It could have easily just been turned on by the Leona there.
I think he was betting on the fact he had the Kha'Zix spot side, but I don't think that's going to save him from death.
Yeah, especially because of how far up he was, and it looks like this is going to be a Eclipse coming out for the Draven first. No, not the
Duskblade,
Eclipse.
right? Probably a Duskblade.
No, maybe it is a Duskblade.
With the Caulfields, I think it is a
Yeah.
Duskblade. Or it could be a Prowler's Claw, but I think that's really, really bad.
That would be very risky to go for a Prowler's Claw, I believe.
But they are going to crack open the mid tower, though, really early into the game, 11 or 12 minutes in. That
And
opens
Pantheon
up the
needs
map.
to get away from this.
Oh, they are going in. Tarek does R this time and is able to keep the Draven alive. They are going to fight bot side, but they're also fighting. And the TP is coming bot side too. Nunu does die, but Draven is also about to die, probably to the Leona with Ignite. Yeah, Leona does secure the kill. Or, no, Lucian does secure the kill. Tarek is just going to have to kite away, hopefully get out without sacrificing his life. He's actually going towards Leona, but that Lucian level up does keep him alive. I think Tarek is probably dead here. Oh, that healing? He might be able to live, but no, he is dead. And
Yeah, and the TP was canceled by the Malphite ultimate onto the Silas there, so ends up not needing it, so I guess it's fine that it was canceled.
oh, Silas is going in, but I think he is dead to the Kha'Zix because of the isolation. But that heal, the Grievous Wounds was not applied at the time, unfortunately, for that Kha'Zix.
Yeah, and the Kha'Zix needs to hightail out of there because the Kingslayer again brings it back up to half HP, and they were fighting a minion wave, which means the Silas almost gets out with the double kill.
Grievous Wounds is very important against the Silas, and if you don't have that, you can't fight him. We're seeing the Eclipse from the Pantheon this time.
Yeah, the Eclipse coming, Eclipse from the Pantheon, and it is a Duskblade for the Draven. That's really interesting, especially with how far behind he's starting to fall. The Lucian is 3-0, and he went plated steel caps for his boots, which means he's taking 12% reduced damage from the Draven's auto attacks and from the Kha'Zix.
Very smart, very smart. I know most AD characters hate going steel caps, but I do think it is one of the most efficient items in the game, especially against Fed carries that do rely on auto attacks a lot. I don't know if Kha'Zix Q does count as an auto attack, but Draven, all of his damage comes from autos. And the fact that he's behind, this just puts him an additional 12% behind. But Silas is going in, does land the Kingslayer, but unfortunately does not heal up as much as he would like. But there's another fight bot side. Draven has to flash the Lucian R, and Leona lands a double R onto the Draven and Tarek. And down goes Nunu, though. Nunu just died for free. Malphite does manage to TP bot side and is fighting the Pantheon. R's, but misses all three targets. And Leona is able to kill him, or guarantee a kill, but dies to sacrifice herself to make sure Lucian is able to confirm that. The Pantheon is also 1 HP and can't walk up here. If he does, he's probably dead as well. Xerath R is not up, so Pantheon is guaranteed to live here.
Yeah, that does give the dragon over to the side of GM. However, and it gives the Silas free roam of the top side of the map. The Draven is walking up there, however, I don't think that's the person you want to be sending up against the Silas.
Definitely not. Nunu, unfortunately, there through their chance of getting the getting the Ocean Drake. and we are seeing an a Mountain Drake or Mountain Soul as the contest.
Seems my prediction was wrong there this time around. I need to go back and study his little chart.
The Kha'Zix once again though is getting kind of fed 3-1 already, but the Lucian is also 5-0. So I think Kha'Zix will have to prioritize killing that Lucian every fight. Same with the Malphite.
Yeah, but you saw how hard it was for the Kha'Zix to even get onto the Lucian, and especially because the Malphite missed his ultimate, it made it nearly impossible for the Kha'Zix to actually get into the backline and do anything.
Definitely. I mean, that was a clean play from the Lucian, able to dodge and fancy feed his way around. But Leona is roaming top, going onto the Malphite, lands her E, lands her Q. She does not have, or she does have R, and she does land it, but the flash makes sure Malphite lives to see another day. But there is a 3-man top for both teams here. Leona does get hit by the
It's
E,
about to be a 4v3. Pantheon's ulting in.
Taric R is activated, so no damage taken from the Nunu R. And this is a two-sided fight where Nunu and Pantheon are both alive and well. Leona's 1 HP, Draven's 1 HP, but both blue side members do die. Malphite is still alive, but here comes Kha'Zix. Malphite landing a 3-man R onto Pantheon and Lucian. And I think they are able to turn it. Kha'Zix landing the isolated Q, doing almost a quarter of that Pantheon's HP.
Oh man, and that was a triple kill with 2 of them being shutdowns.
Oh, Silas just is able to walk up and almost destroy the Zera, landing the R, has to flash, but Zera turns it with his own R.
Oh no.
Good flash though. An instant R cast from that Xerath is able to guarantee the kill onto the Silas. It was an unfortunate play. It looked good on paper, but unfortunately the Xerath was able to turn it.
Yeah, and it looks like the Malphite is going to be heading for the Sunfire as well, which makes it, and yep, he's going to finish the Sunfire, and it looks like he's going to go for Merc Treads. And now at this point, it's going to take a pretty massive effort to actually be able to kill him in these fights here. Their most fed member, the Lucian, is still going to have an easy time. That is the Empowered Q upgrade for the Kha'Zix now.
Right.
And as we saw, the moment that Malphite lands that ultimate there, the Kha'Zix gets a triple kill. So as long as the Lucian is not one of those people in that Malphite ultimate, I do think that CPO still has a very large chance of winning these fights.
I'm interested to see that Luden's Echo coming out from the Silas. I know Lost Chapter items are really, really great, but I do think the Liandry's Anguish now is a lot better, mainly due to the fact that they do have a Kha'Zix, and they do have a Malphite. The Kha'Zix will be partially revealed from the tick damage from the Liandry's if he is able to land like a Q or something. But they are going to just take their tail for free.
I think it's mainly because the champions like the Xerath are more of a burst champion, and the Liandry's Anguish won't last very long on champions because of the the burst damage is all just 1 attack or 1 to 2 attacks and then it's gone. Whereas champions like the Brand, the Malzahar, the Karthus, they like Liandry's Torment because they do damage over time abilities that keep restacking the Liandry's.
I definitely think it's very good for Xerath to go Ludens, but I think Silas, with the way he applies his magic damage through his weaving passive autos, which would apply it, I do think it is slightly better into the comp that he's facing. If he was just into a comp of like 5 squishies, I think it's perfectly fine to go Ludens. But he is going the Lich Bane, so I do think he is going for that one-shot build. But I don't think that will be able to kill the Kha'Zix in time, though. Leona just takes 0 damage from the Kha'Zix full rotation, but she does have to flash to get away from the stun. And she does E back into the Xerath R and is just killed for free. Nothing burned.
Yeah, I think she thought with the Lucian supporting, I think they thought they could turn it around, but the Taric basically tanked the entirety of Lucian's ultimate there, keeping the Kha'Zix healthy and well for that entire thing.
That Taric W passive is pretty insane at keeping his team armored up.
Yeah.
I do think they are going to be able to claim this Drake without much contest. They do have the vision control, but there is a pink in the Tribe Brush for red side, so Pantheon is able to get a flank there, but I think they're just going to give it.
Yeah, gonna go ahead and trade the Mountain Drake for the top tier tower. It looks like the Malphite is heading up there, but so is Nunu, kind of trailing behind as well.
Here comes the trade between the Malphite and the Silas, but Malphite is just taking almost 0 damage. They both missed their R's. Or not, Malphite, or Silas just missed his R. The Malphite just ran away.
Used it to get away, yeah.
Okay, so he dodges the R from the Leona, but he's very low and he's just dead to the Lucian. Very good slow from the Leona R. Even though the stun misses, the R still does slow if he is in any part of the circle. So that guarantees her E, which allowed him to be CC'd up and just die.
Yeah, I really like what the Nunu did there. He basically tanked a few of the autos because all they had were caster minions. So they're going to be able to take that tower, and it looks like they're going to respond with another tower here.
Pantheon might just be dead here into Lunar Effect, and Xerath is just R'ing the wave, or R'ing them for poke just to make sure they can't back and help the Pantheon.
Yeah, the Lucian does get back in time before they can even get any more damage down. There were pings from the side of GM on the Baron. I believe they thought that once the tower had gone down, since they were all seeing bot side, they expected the side of CPO to maybe rotate for that Baron, but since they didn't, they decided to continue on with the push.
Yeah. I think it would have been okay for GM to actually go for that tier 2 if they did commit on that Baron. I think it's a lot better to get an early game tier 3, sorry, instead of that Baron. Because early Baron buff doesn't do as much as people think it does. I think an early Rift Herald is a lot more useful than an early Baron.
I would give them the cash influx and the experience they need to actually catch back up, because you're looking at the levels across the board right now. You have level 14 for the Xerath versus the level 12 for the Pantheon. You got a 2-level advantage for the Kha'Zix, which means the Smite is 2 levels stronger.
Right.
And, I mean, that is evened out a bit, quite a bit, because it's Nunu, and
Here
he
comes
does
the fight in the bot lane. Silas versus Kha'Zix, but they're both invisible. They can't see each other. Kha'Zix the flash just one-shots him, but they are committing on the Malphite in the mid lane. He does R away to get out in time. Tarek R does manage to go off, so he is alive for now, but I do think they are going to have to leave him. He stays alive for so long and buys so much time for his teammates to run away. So overall, sacrifice that was pretty good for blue side overall. Support for the top laner, definitely a worthwhile trade in my books.
Yeah, definitely. And the Kha'Zix is now just getting there, and they know that they cannot fight this fed Kha'Zix, who is 9-1 right now.
Honestly, the fight was relatively close considering the item disparity between the two. So I think a good thing Kha'Zix is building towards an Executioner's Calling, which helped him out in that 1v1.
Yeah, I mean, you saw how much damage just the jump and then the isolated Q did to the Silas there. It didn't matter that he healed. He lost 90% of his HP in one attack there.
So I think with that extra healing reduction, the Silas has no chance anymore. But Lunar Effect might be caught here. He may be able to turn it, but... Oh, he does turn it! He kills the Nunu and is able to run away from the Pantheon with his R. But here comes Leona. Misses the E. Misses the
really
R.
have
Unfortunately is unable to land any CC to lock him down. And we see a lot of question mark pings coming out from the blue side from that play.
Probably wondering how he's still alive right now.
Definitely. That was such a greedy play, and it somehow worked out. I guess the ends justify the means, but...
Yeah, I mean, and look how much armor that the Nunu has and how it just didn't matter.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, Nunu's sitting on almost 160 armor there, 151 right now, and he got shredded like he was butter.
Yeah, I think the same thing is happening though. Bot lane is very fed, but the solo laners and jungler of GM are just be able to carry this game so far. We'll see if this continues, if the same trend follows, but for now, I think it's looking very GM favored, all things considered. They needed the Pantheon to snowball, they needed the Silas to snowball, and neither of those champions were able to do so. Look at the Siesta disparity between mid lane.
Oh, yeah. It's not nearly as dire as it was last game.
Definitely
last
not.
Game,
yeah.
Last game, the mid and top just couldn't get going. This time around, the Pantheon and the Silas have gotten a few kills.
There's a team fight going on. Leona managed to land a stun on 3. Does go in, but is just killed instantly through the W. Dodging and dodging. Lucian does die to the Xerath R, unfortunately. The Malphite does flash R over onto the Pantheon, but is unable to kill him. And is just able to run away. Oh, Xerath flash W is able to land the Q, but the E from Pantheon is able to keep him alive. But he does just die to Xerath overall in the end, and it is a very unfortunate series of events happening for CPO.
Yeah, and this could easily just be a Baron call right now. Like,
I think if they just shove mid-wave, it's a very good Baron call. Just push the wave a little bit, head over to Baron. Free as cake. Or easy as pie, my bad.
Cake and pie. There we go.
Nunu is hiding on the wings, looking to see if he can steal it.
Not anymore.
He's running. I don't think he has a chance anymore. They're just going to do the Baron here. I will zoom out just to take a look to see where the Nunu is. Looked like he's looking for the Blast Cone, but unfortunately that's already gone.
He's going to have to do something special to get over.
He has no flash. He only has his W. I don't think he has a chance of getting into the pit. That was a very close Baron, unfortunately. Like, it could have been stolen by almost anyone there. I think that went to 40 HP.
Yeah, I thought that Leona took it, honestly, with the ultimate.
It was very close. I think they did try and burst it, though, so I don't think they have Nunu flash time. So they were expecting Nunu to flash in, so that's why they used everything to burst it.
Yeah, because despite the fact that there is a massive lead advantage, the Smite Q from Nunu is still stronger.
For sure. That Smite Q is just over 1,000 true damage at this point already, I believe.
Yeah, the Q is doing 980 true damage from the consume, and then it's another 720. Yeah, it's doing close to 2,000.
2,000 true damage. That's almost unbeatable.
Yeah, there's nothing anybody can do at that point, because yeah, you have 850 true damage from the Kha'Zix, but almost 2,000 true damage on a neutral objective is unmatched.
Unfortunately, he didn't have flash, so he had no way of being able to get into the fight to get the Baron. It feels like GM is just trying to set up bushes of death so that they can just, kill whoever walks up. I mean, there's just so many Pox Division on red side, they're just unable to walk into their own jungle. Look at the Nunu just chilling by his wall, not able to do anything.
Yeah, and I do like
what look at that damage onto the Lucian. He's almost one-shot, forced to flash, but the R from Draven does confirm the Collector kill. Collected. Down he goes. But Lunar Effect is able to bait out a couple flashes and run away for free.
Yeah, and without their carry, this game, they're just going to be able to push into the mid lane, and I think this game
oh my god, that damage onto Leona was insane by the Kha'Zix. Looks like they might be looking for another fight here. But that Leona just popped. I don't think she even had time to W.
No, and look, Malphite is just walking at them and taking away their ability to fight back.
They
Lucian
have no way
is
to
up
kill
in
him.
8 seconds.
They can honestly just dive this. They are diving. Malphite R lands onto 3. Taric R keeping the front line alive, and they're just able to do 0 damage to the entire team. Oh, and he Kha'Zix jumps into Fountain into the Lucian R and does get popped for it, but I think that may be game.
Yeah, got 4 Baron empowered cannon minions. It's 2 versus 3 right now. I don't think they can.
And that is just game, I guess.
Yep.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
I'm shocked.
Considering the drafts
CPO had all of the eggs in their basket to win this game, and they couldn't pull it off. The early game started out phenomenally for them compared to last game, and despite all that, they just couldn't pull it off.
Definitely agree with you there. I was certainly expecting Red Side to win just based on draft alone, but they were able to outplay their opponents in almost every way other than the bot lane, just like last game. Same story. I guess history does repeat itself.
Yeah, CPO needs to... I think they need to go back to the drawing board for a little bit, and they need to figure out what went wrong in those games, because those games, especially the second game, should have been a much easier, much smoother ride for them to be able to claim victory, and they fell into the same trap that they did in the first game, where yes, their bottom side of the map got super far ahead, but their top side they just couldn't get anywhere.
Exactly. Like I said, the Silas and the Pantheon were the champions that didn't need to scale or didn't need to get snowballing in order to win the game. Unfortunately, they weren't able to do so. Pantheon once again was not able to deal with the long range poke from both either the Annie or the Zera from both games. And he wasn't able to get the roams off. I was expecting more Pantheon R's towards the top side, towards the bot side, but those were barely used, unfortunately.
Yeah, they were mainly used as reactions, and usually they were too late.
So unfortunately, the stat screen isn't working, but I am going to start the poll for player of the game. I do wonder who you guys will choose. So
Let me go ahead. I'm gonna send you a picture of them so that way you can show them.
oh,
to
for sure,
everybody.
for sure. Thank you so much. But I will definitely hope you guys do end up voting for our player of the game. I will start that now. So once again, GM able to take over. I'm shocked. The comp difference was pretty insane, but overall, they were able to play it out. So we do see once again the Kazakhs just destroying the damage charts, almost unmatched. So I'm going to send it off to break and hope to see you guys back on the analyst desk.
Looks like your mic is muted again.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so our player of the game, as voted by you guys, the audience, is Mr. Psychonautic. So he had a great showing on both Malphite and the Wukong today, and I'm not surprised to see him up here as one of the valued players. Last game it was Mr. Lunar Effect on the Kazakhs. Although he did play incredibly well this game, you guys did end up choosing Mr. Psychonautic, and I completely understand why, with the way he performed both consistently in both games. Overall, I think all the top side of GM or Godmade did play incredibly well and were able to just transfer their leads throughout the map, make sure that they, even though they were losing bot side, were able to just carry their leads and win both games, even with a little bit of a draft difference in our opinion. And if you have any other comments, Mr. Dream, I'd love to hear them.
Judging by what we saw today from the side of GM, despite the fact that, especially in the second game, where they drafted a comp that was very confusing to what I guess I'm just a lesser person than these gods of the Rift, as their name indicates. I'm looking forward to what they bring out, and seeing as how I'm your resident color caster for these for the foreseeable future, I get to watch as these teams evolve and become better every step of the way. So it's going to be extremely exciting. If this is what week 1 has to offer, I'm ready to see what the rest of the season has to offer.
Me too. I'm definitely excited to see what these gods have in them. I'm just going to wrap it up tonight. Thank you guys all for showing up. We do have our LAS and LRS picks tomorrow, so I'm very excited to see where these players, or where many players go. So I hope you guys all have a great night, and take care. Thank you for having me. Good night.